Hello guys, welcome to the show, and thank you for 2,000 subscribers. We have reached another little milestone. Hopefully there's going to be more in the future. But yeah, let's continue with assembly of the M104 3.6 AMG out of a C-Class. If you remember, a long time ago, probably like 3 weeks, 4 weeks now, we disassembled this puppy. I have painted it and I have put the crank in place. Also, the head used to be on just so I can shrink wrap it and close the block in the head. I have taken the head out now, and it's time to put some piston rings. But first, we need to gap them because they're gap to fit. And I bought a pretty cool little tool yesterday out of Amazon, 20 bucks. And this is gonna help us tremendously get the job done nice, quick and easy, and also properly, because you know you can mess stuff up if you're angle grinding them and all that weird stuff. Yesterday, after some calculations, I have determined that because of the bore size and it needs to be multiplied by blah blah blah, I'm gonna show you the card. We need to have 0.4 millimeters of a gap on the top, second and third ring. Basically they need to be equal. The bottom one could be even bigger, it doesn't really matter. Minimum 0.4 on the bottom one. It could be bigger, but the minimum is 0.4. Now the bottom ring, we don't need to do anything to it because it's already 0.6, so perfectly fine. The top rings are fully closed, so we need to open them manually, and let me show you what we need to do. All right, so this is the stock ring. This is what came on the car. You can see here's a small gap in it. That's 0.4. Second ring, I sunk it a little bit down just to make sure that it's the same, 0.4. Now these usually you need to check them in the bore that they need to go into, but this is just for visual purposes, so you can see the difference between a brand new ring. It's split right here. This is a brand new ring. You can see it's fully closed, which is not good. We need to open it. But yeah, we need to gap the new rings to 0.4, and this is the new ring. Nice and solid, not like the old one. The old one is very squishy. This one is a little bit harder, which is good. That's what we want. So this is the tool. It came with 2 stones in it, which is quite nice. Let me get it out of here. There we go. So you put this on your bench, you twist this handle out. There we go. There we go. So you spin it one hand, yeah, and with the other hand you put the ring in place and you hold it like this, and you always sand only one side of the ring. So if I put the camera down, let me show you. Oop, that's me. All right, so there we go. So you grab your ring. Now, I'm not professional at this, but I have done it a couple of times. So you grab your ring and you spin, spin, spin. Put moderate pressure on the ring and you spin towards the ring, not out of the ring, towards the ring, because if you spin out, there's nothing to support it on the top side and you can probably, most likely, nick your ring. So you spin for a little bit, you know, push the ring towards the sides. You spin for a little bit and you go and check it out. Wipe it off, wipe it clean. Get your ring. See if you can see properly in here. Get your ring, you close it and you put it inside. Now I can tell you that this will need more anyway, But let me grab a piston. Our piston is currently taking a bath in petrol, just so we can clean it. But you take your piston and you sink it about an inch down from the bore. Now an inch is just after the piston skirts. You put it like that, take it out. You grab your filler gauge and you measure the distance again, and you measure on the thrust side. And when you check your rings, the ring has a bevel to it, right? Don't know if you can see it, but right on the edge of the ring there's a bevel. Now this bevel serves one and only purpose. I have read a lot of stuff that the bevel serves a purpose, like pressure gases can roll behind the ring and all that stuff. No, the bevel in the ring is for twisting, giving the piston ring a cone. So when you close your piston ring, it will, like if the piston ring is like that when it's open, when you close it, put it inside the cylinder, basically it will open up towards the bevel. So if your bevel is pointing towards the top, it will open up like this. If your bevel is pointing towards the bottom, towards your crank, it will close like that. And you want the first ring, the bevel, to be pointing up so it can open up on the piston, and you want your second ring, the bevel, to be pointing down so you can have a nice even spread on the piston ring lands. Yeah, this is it. It's very nice to have piston ring pliers that open it up. I don't have at the moment, but I think I can make some. It's nothing, you know, it's just pliers that have a little ridges on the end so they can open the piston ring up, and you can put it inside your, how do you call it? Inside your piston ring lens. So let me see which side is sanded. This one. And let's continue. Okie dokie, so basically all the rings are done now, and I've cleaned up one piston so I can show you. But you need to get a soft, well, medium hardness brush, preferably plastic so you don't scratch anything too much. And you need to clean all the grooves where the piston ring goes in. Now usually what I would do is I would break a piston ring and then just kind of clean with it. But because these piston rings are good and they could save somebody's ass, I'm gonna save them for now. The only piston ring that is not reusable is the oil ring, but I wouldn't care about that anyway. I'm caring about top rings basically. So yeah, a soft, medium soft brush like this, all plastic. Dip the piston in petrol, clean nicely inside, and then on the side and on top of the piston, if there's any scratches and stuff like that, a medium Scotch Brite like this. And if there's a big scars, let's say on the top, just some 500, and after that a Scotch Brite, just so the piston doesn't have any burrs on it. Now what we're gonna do is, I've got a clean, very clean container over here, and I've got some oil. Have a sip. basically fill that up to where when you dip the piston, the ring lands are going to be all oiled up. So what we can do is when we're putting the rings in place, it's going to be nice and oily. Move the wrist pin as well. There we go. So container is full. I'll leave the piston in here for a second and I'll go and grab a lid for that container, or maybe another container itself. Yeah, that's pretty clean. It's another clean container over here. And quickly wipe it off if there's any dust or anything. There we go. Basically one clean area. Yeah, work your kingpin in there. So that's nicely oiled up. There we go. Put your piston in here now. I like starting with the bottom rings, the oil rings. There we go. Don't have any markings on them. And don't seem to have a bevel on them, so always good. Now what we can do is position the rings somehow. Oh, there we go. Overthinking it. There's a vise over here. Might get the vise a little bit dirty, but alright, there we go. So one bottom oil ring. There we go. Boom. There we go. Spin these away, one from another. Basically, try and replicate the Mercedes logo. There we go. Inspect it, make sure that everything is good, and then you're ready for your second ring. I would say just quick dip in the oil, won't hurt. And then got let's say piston pliers, piston ring pliers. These are not that, but they'll do the job just fine. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh, that has went way down there. Boom. There we go. Alright, top bevel. Boom. There we are. One piston assembled. We can clock the rings in a second, but I'll give it another bath in oil. Just leave it there while I put bearings on end of it. Oily mess, oily mess. Alright, so bearings. There we go. Make sure the bearings are clean. Right, so all the pistons are inside the block. All the bearings have been loosely tightened up. Next thing that we're going to do is torque them to spec. So these are going to be reused, and in the manual says first tightening, that would be 40 Newton meters, and then 90 to 100 degrees. But since we're reusing the bolts, the manual suggests 30 Newton meters with 90 to 100, angle of tightening. So let's go ahead, torque them to 30 degrees, give it another 90, and spin that bad girl around and see how she is. All right, so number 1. There we go. And number 6 we can do here. That's it.
Right. Would you like my comments?
What was that?
What they say is when you do the ratchet, you torque it all in one stroke. Don't do a second stroke. Right. And the other thing is, like, what you're doing now is correct. After each one, check just in case one jams up.
Yeah. They're loosely tightened, so they're not like that.
That's it.
That's it. Pretty good. It's moving very nice. And I can hear these piston rings just working on the side of the wall. There we go. Don't want to spin it too much because obviously we don't want to lose the oil that we've put on. There we go. Top row again. There we go. Gonna use the small ratchet. This is pretty okay for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. It's got some play in it. It's a 90. Right. Got a tank snap-on for having a fine-tooth ratchet. There we go. Spring back. Just about perfect. Let's do the next ones. There we go. What do you think?
Good, good, good.
You'll make the 300 horsepower? Oh yes, you will. There we go. Good as gold. Boom. Alright guys, it's Monday, nice and lovely weather outside, and George is gonna be putting the head onto the block. I have cleaned up everything, have a look. So the cylinder bores all clean and brake cleaned and all that good stuff. Obviously the block has been decked, so we don't have to remove any gasket material or anything like that. It's already done for us. The customer has bought this Hedgehog Performance or whatever was called. I think it was Hedgehog Performance. How does that sit now? Not that way. Not that way. Maybe that way. Wait, what are we doing? What are we doing? Back edge, that needs to be here. Yeah, there we go. That's it. You can see it's a metal gasket with a composite in the middle. I don't know why it's painted black, but it is painted black. And there's metal O-rings obviously around the bore. That's pretty normal. You can see it's the correct size for the bore. It's 91 millimeters, and the stamping Hedgehog on the side. So this is pretty nice piece, but actually I think I'm gonna brake clean it before we actually put it on. And we have original OEM L-ring bolts. Oh, actually look, it says M104 C36 AMG. It's a hybrid, obviously composite and metal. Thickness 1.8, standard bore size. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It comes neatly packaged in this cardboard so it doesn't get bent and all that stuff. And there's our bolts, which we're gonna crudely open. There we go. A lot of bolts. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil at the end of them, and I'm gonna put some assembly lube on the washers. So we get accurate torque reading. Now, because this is a hybrid head gasket, it's not fully composite like the OEM gasket is, I believe. We need to be a little bit careful with the torque settings, and I think they might need to be retorqued after that. I need to go on the Hedgehog website and check it. For the moment, I'm just gonna torque it as OEM, because obviously the bolts are OEM. I'm gonna torque it as OEM and then we'll go from there. I'm just gonna put a dab of oil on these the way they are. We have some Mercedes tin stuff, 530 or 540. Just gonna put a little bit. Yeah. Put some gloves on. Yeah. While this is kind of soaking up there, I'm gonna take this off, and I need to now brake clean the block and the gasket again. Okay, so after consulting with the M104, I have found a couple things. Now, you have two options for timing this engine, and you have the standard M104 option, where you use on the side of the sprockets at the front, there's a 4mm hole, and you use that on the level of the head and you time it that way while the crank is at TDC. Or you can use the AMG way, which is there's no timing marks. The intake is 2mm lower than the level of the head, and the exhaust is 2mm higher from the level of the head where the rock cover mounts. Sorry, it's a bit noisy, but I had to put a fan on because I'm dying, it's so hot in here. So I'm gonna put the head on now, and I'm gonna leave it on the standard M104 timing marks, and when the chain comes in, I will see if I can move it to the AMG way, because it's a bit dodgy not having anything to lock the timing on the engine. So there we go. Let's put the head on. Both surfaces are clean. We're ready to go, baby. All right. It's a heavy. It's a heavy cylinder head. Very much out. Still out. Where am I? All right, one. There you go. That's it. It's in position. Yep. That looks pretty good. Right. As I said, there's already the washers have been already pre-installed, because you have to install the washers for the boats before the cams, and that's because the washers, the washers are larger than the hole on the cam holders. So I've pre-installed them. They've been lubed at the bottom. I'm going to lube them at the top now and sink the bolts down and start torquing this head to position. I'm going to do 30 Newton meters just to begin with. Obviously you go in a circle formation going from the inside to the outside. Just 30 Newton meters. Get us started. But I believe it's around 90 Newton meters and then 290 degrees. Don't quote me on that, I need to check it again. was pretty damn close. Boom. Let's check the manual, what it recommends, and we'll go from there. Final talking in a minute. Alright, so it is 55 Newton meters and 290 degrees. And it says, do not pressure test before the engine has reached operating temperature because the gasket is not watertight. Whatever that means. So let's put this at 55 and send it, pretty much. Alright, that'll do. 55, 55. Let's go. Boom. Boom. That's it. Give it 5 minutes and then we'll do the first 90 degrees. Righty-o, let's go. Yep. Yeah, buddy. I don't like this. Yeah. That's a little, you know, pulling to be doing. So, what about? Yeah, that'll be better. Come around. Come around. Right. I had to reposition you because obviously you'll be looking at my back, not at the engine or anything that I do, so you know. Alright, let's go. First 90, money. Alright, there we go. Second 90, money. There we go. Boom, pretty good. Pretty good. There we go. Yep. Whoop. There we go. Oh, too much, buddy. Yep, buddy. Up. Up. Trying to do it one stroke. You know. All right. That's it. We'll give it 5 more minutes and then final one, and we're good to go. Okay, so basically I've painted stuff like this little fella, the sump, that's nice and painted. It's almost dry as well. Well, it's dry anyway. It's ready to go on the car, but obviously we can't put it on the car because we haven't timed the car yet. Front timing covers, they look sweet, so nice. The only thing left to paint now, look, they're cleaned up, very nice underneath as well. Need to see if we have new ring of these, but yeah, these cleaned up amazing. The only thing left to paint, and I'm gonna paint them black. I know this is usually aluminium like that. Actually, I might leave this the way it is. It's pretty clean. I need to paint these two little guys, and I need to change the seal. I'm not going to be painting this because obviously it's in the back of the engine. You're not going to see it. There's no point wasting paint on it, and yeah, just there's no point. So I'm waiting for these to dry. Let me actually put them here, leave them cook on the bin. I found out that if you want something to dry very quickly, put it on the top of the bins, because look, the bins are usually not soft, but because it's so hot, they went a little bit squishy, you know. So I'll leave these dry there. These are, as I said, painted and drying already. Look amazing. That's George's horse, and yeah, these are dry, ready to go on the car. Painted them pretty quickly. This stuff is great, not gonna lie. Anodized base coat up to 228 degrees. Yeah, sure, why not? The engine have master ports now. The cylinders are nice and clean, ready to go. I've cleaned up the intake. It was full of bead blasting media, and filled my mouth full of it. That was pretty not amazing, but it's alright. We have this cleaned up as well. It's ready to go. The seal we don't have, so I'm gonna just run a bead of silicone on it. All the bolts have been zinc plated, which is pretty sick. Nice. Now I can't really determine which one is from where. I mean, I can, but it just, I need to spread all of them out. And yeah, fun stuff. Water pump, original male product. So I should say, let's stick that baby on. We have new O-ring for it. Then after this, I'm gonna, after I stick the water pump on, I have the seal for the oil heat exchanger basically. So I'm gonna do that, slap it on it, and then we can put the intake on, throttle body and all that good stuff, exhaust, and then literally the only thing left after we are done with this will be time it, rocker cover, front covers, sump, and in the car. thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Comment, share, subscribe, driftin'rust.com for merch. Bye bye, I'm out.